1940 Popup by Rockwood, 1,560 pounds here at HaylettRV of Coldwater, Michigan. This is that infantry soldier member of the Popup world. 10-foot box, you know, a dinette, larger front bed, smaller rear bed, normal traditional Popup measurements and things. But Rockwood overall, last I checked, and has been for a while now, is the #1 Popup brand on the market. A lot of little details go into it, guys. Generic Popups like this, you know, they're a dime a dozen. So why is it that this one is the best seller? That's the stuff I want to hit on. It kind of starts with things like the Duratec material they use here. This is the same tent bed end they use actually on their hybrid campers. Rockwood being, again, last I checked, the #1 producer of hybrid campers out there. So they're using the same materials and craftsmanship on this little guy that they're using on their bigger guys. And I think that's a good indicator of things. It's, like I said, pretty rank and file, but it's just well crafted. It's not necessarily so much the playbook as it is the execution. We've carried a few different brands of tent campers here. Some places call them fold down, some call them pop-ups, which is funny, and then some call them tent campers. Whatever you call them, you know, at the end of the day, the product's the same. And you see a lot of similarities. It's just the cleanliness of the execution here. I always notice how when the Rockwoods come in, nothing's ever pinched, nothing's damaged. They've got the protection sleeves here for your lifter system, so that you don't get the dust and debris in those legs. Those little slip covers over those lifter arms there. It's not a big deal, but it's the little details that separate brand A, B from C and D, and it's those extra things that Rockwood does. Now, their tent end materials here are actually C-channeled onto the end of that bed, so you don't have to pull all the canvas material out. And the sides here, I purposely left this hanging so I could remember to see it. These do Velcro to the underside of the pop-up. Someone's going to see this old bungee style cable here and go, oh, you mean you have to strap the bungee cable through? No, you don't. You used to have to. Rockwood still leaves that on there just for like an extra level of security. Basically, if you have a really windy day or something, it's an extra layer of protection to make sure that the tent doesn't start flapping around. It's those little things they do. A lot of pop-ups have only 2 stabilizer jacks, and they tend to be single leg stabilizers. You'll see the Rockwood has full scissor jacks, and they actually have full 4-corner jacks with the bigger pads on the bottom. Big recommendation from me, bring like some 10 by 10 square boards or something and put under those feet, and it'll that way it doesn't sink or anything. You have really good stability that way. Cheaper pop-ups aren't going to include a spare tire. Those are going to be on a Rockwood standard. We've put a couple options on this, and if at any point you're kind of curious, I leave you a link in the video description that says check for price and availability. That'll show you what we have on stock, how it's equipped, and what we're asking. For instance, on this one, we included the propane furnace and one other thing. It escapes me at this point. Doesn't matter because the one we have in stock could be different from this one. Oh, the fridge. That was the other thing. A couple appliance upgrades. So, an inside-outside little cooktop is not uncommon in the world of RVs, but the way that Rockwood did theirs is a little bit different with this nice molded plastic base here, so that if you want to set it on a picnic table instead of mount it on here, you can do that. It gives you a little more freedom to move it wherever you want. Now your camping door recesses and locks against the ceiling when you're in transit. I just did a quick setup on this so I didn't bring that down. It actually marries on top of that door, so you have a 1/3, 2/3 door that marry together. And you see the pop-up bag style awning on here. Traditional pop-up awning, nothing fancy, but it doesn't have to be fancy to work, and that's what this is. This is a camper. This is not an RV. This is going to get your family up off the ground and get you out of the wind, and you're going to have a good time and build a lot of memories. You're going to go outside to do that. You're not going to want to sit inside this thing all day, every day to do that. That'd be silly. What's funny is I remember this fabric from years ago. They actually used this in their bigger fifth wheels, and it was called Sage then. So you're seeing the same interior decors that you're actually seeing from previous Rockwood generations. Now, all these little windows here, you can actually, here, this one's a little closer. You can just sort of scoot these off to the side. You don't have to hand roll them up. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. You'll see all LED lights in here. Last year they only had 2 lights, one forward and one back. They added an extra light this year. I'm not saying that's a major deal, but it's pretty darn comfortable in here. You can see just fine with just a couple lights. These are the same lights they use in their fifth wheels, and that's what I like about Rockwood. It's the quality and the consistency of the product. So we upgraded from just an icebox to a 3-way fridge. That means 12-volt battery power, 110 shore power, or propane, or in English, cold, colder, coldest. And the 20,000 BTU furnace here. A lot of very large bunkhouse trailers have a 20,000 BTU furnace. It will warm up pretty well in here. Most of the time, this area of a pop-up camper is where you have the little inside-outside stovetop. But Rockwood actually has theirs set up over here. That's part of the reason it's higher. The extra height of that plastic base right there, that lifts the stovetop up to a traditional cooking height instead of having it extra tall over here. Good storage over here too. This is where the 1940 really trumps the 1640, as you get all this extra storage, including a couple drawers, and you'll notice that even in their pop-ups, their drawers are all plywood constructed, not particle board with sticker wraps. Little detail stuff, guys, that's what I mean. Like heated bed ends. This is the smaller rear bed. We've got a queen size front, and they are heated. There's little hand controls. There's the plug right there. You plug it in right there, and you can crank the temp up, down, whichever way you please. Overall, this is one of our best-selling pop-ups from one of the best-selling brands out there. And again, it's little stuff like instead of a pedestal table, they have a free standing table. So if you want to take this outside like a picnic table, you can do that. Handy little storage cabinet by the door, because there's no such thing as too much storage. And that's just about it. If you want some good airflow on a hot day, you unzip these side panels and you get all kinds of airflow. You know, or there's options to put air conditioning on the roof of these things. You know, we do that all the time. So hitching, pieces, parts, trades, financing, accessories, everything in between. I don't know, song and a dance, rub your feet. You never know what we'll do to make a deal come together. So give us a call, 800-256. Wow, that's a loud radio. 800-256. I don't even know what our phone number is anymore. That radio got me screwed up. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.